What's up, Woodsies? Today we're going to be talking about a video that Pokemon put out here. And for when the recording of this is, it was actually released just yesterday. But I know this video probably won't get out until Saturday. But I did want to discuss this a little bit after watching this video. Video is going to be linked down below. Of course, it's going to be Hot Take, Costco, Prismatic Evolutions reprints makes the market worse. And he has some interesting points in this video. Some of them I do agree with in a way. I mean, he is kind of right in the way that Pokemon is currently in the hobby itself starting to put out product just to the big box stores isn't really solving the problem, and it really isn't distributing as well as Pokemon thinks. And it's also creating this atmosphere where we have people going in and raiding Costco's. It's going out the back door of Sam's Clubs. We're seeing all of these issues continue, but I'm going to kind of break this down a little bit. Some of the points that he makes, some of the comments that he makes, and some of the ideas that he puts out there. And I'm going to explain why some of them are a good thing and why some of them are just very much one-sided to benefit him. And that's another factor that is a big issue when we're talking about doing some of the things in the Pokemon TCG. So first thing I'm going to put, the first clip that I'm going to put up here is going to be this one, which is him talking about the fact that we have all this stuff going and that Rudy's talking about the changes. So I'm going to put this up here first on the video for you guys to listen to.
Now, Pokemon, according to Rudy, which this is accurate information, I promise you, Pokemon is making it worse because instead of sending us little guys, X amount of inventory, now they're sending us a lowercase x amount of inventory and sending way more of it to big box stores. Now you might be thinking, well, Brian, now the average consumer has more direct access to this inventory, so they're definitely helping the little guy. No, they are not.
So as you can see, he talks about how Rudy is talking about how they're shifting distribution to go more into like big box stores versus the distributors to the LGSs. And once again, he kind of goes into how Rudy, this is for sure what Rudy's hearing. Rudy has done this in the past. Let's be 100% honest. Rudy sometimes gives you something he got by email by somebody and it ends up being factual. But then again, a month later, he'll do the same thing. And he did it several times with Magic the Gathering things. That he's getting emails from inside sources and the email sources end up being nowhere near what they actually do. So just because Rudy says something like that, a lot of times does not necessarily mean that it's true. Could it be? Absolutely. It could be. And what we're actually seeing is congruent with that. I don't need an email from Rudy to be able to know that for sure. We can just physically see that that's what's occurring in this current hobby is that big box stores, Prismatic Evolutions, for example, how many LGSs or distributors have offered reprints of Prismatic Evolutions to the actual LGSs and storefronts, while we continually see Costco, Sam's Club, all these other sources getting continuous reprints of this product that we're begging for when it comes down to the retail side of the Pokemon TCG. So do I agree that Pokemon's shifting their gears and giving a lot more to big box stores? Yeah, Tuesday we had actually talked about that being an issue and going to be a continuing issue when it comes down to the product in the Pokemon TCG. So is that wrong? I can't prove or disprove whether or not Rudy has that email, whether or not it's actual factual email. I don't know. Rudy's gone both ways when it comes down to it. PokeNE seems to be pretty confident that that's what's going to happen. But once again, it's all speculatory at this point on whether or not Rudy actually has an email. He never really shares these emails. He just says he gets them. And some of them do pan out, some don't. But when it comes down to where distribution is going with products, it has been a continuing problem. LGSs are definitely having issues. It's not just Pokemon. It's also going through with Magic the Gathering. It's going through with a lot of the other TCGs as well. We're starting to question about some of the materials and stuff that they're using for these TCGs. Are we having an issue with getting these things? We don't know. We don't know what's happening behind the back scenes of things, and Pokemon's solution to be giving to the big box stores versus the LGSs is not fixing the problem. Never will fix the problem. The problem comes down to you need to be getting more product out to each one of the legs and starting to build an inventory on these legs, and that's what we're not seeing. And we do not know why. There's speculation that they're printing sports cards. There's now speculation from some people that it's actually just TCGs in general, and it's a material issue that they use for these TCGs, which is actually the truth. who knows? But the next clip I'm going to put here is something that I truly do disagree with this statement 100%, but I'm going to put it in here and we're going to talk to you why I truly think that this is a bad idea and why this should not be done in any way, shape, or form. So here it is.
The actual solution, this is the hot take, is inundating distributors with product and ignoring big box entirely. Because if you inundate distributors with millions of boxes, they are going to be very motivated to sell them to vendors. If the vendors buy the tens of thousands of boxes that each one, has an opportunity to buy, they are going to need that capital back to put into the next set because, like I said, there is always another invoice.
So here you have it. When it comes down to this point of the conversation that we got going on right now, taking all of the product and removing it from your big box stores and giving none to them and perpetuating that product into the LGS distributing side of the Pokemon TCG is also not going to fix the problem. Let's just be 100% honest. This is someone who's looking for product, trying to propel product his way and putting it out there that maybe enough people will jump on this bandwagon to start feeling this way and maybe start pushing to try and help him. But in general, as an LGS and on this side of the fence, I think that this is a horrible idea as well. Once again, if you start taking the chains and you start retracting one leg and putting it all into another leg, the same situation occurs again, right? So LGSs are going to sell cheaper, but yet people can't get it in other areas that they normally would. So people are going to increase that price the other direction. So LGSs are going to charge more because, hey, I can make more money on this. And right now I can't get Magic the Gathering. I can't get much of the other products that are currently out there, such as Dragon Ball Z and other TCGs that aren't printing very well. Now I've got a ton of Pokemon, so I'm going to redistribute my income on that instead of the other TCGs that I'm not getting at this point in time. And also, hey, once they sell it, they're making market value. Why don't I increase the price to meet that market value? And once again, you have that same situation. You're just taking it from the big box stores and putting it where you're making the money instead of the big box stores that actually do have an MSRP cap for the most part. Costco, Sam's Club, Walmart, Target, all of them stay within a certain percentage of MSRP. They don't really go near the actual market price. They usually stay within 10% of MSRP. They're maybe if it's a $60 release, they'll sell it for $68. If it's a $40 ETB, they'll be selling it for $45. We've seen that forever when it comes down to the demand of that, and that's once again MJ Holding kind of controlling that, but they don't go really crazy. They're not selling Destin's Rivals booster boxes right now on the store shelves at Walmart for $85 a piece. No, they're still going to be selling them for $55, which is technically the MSRP in Scarlet and Violet. Or if you're going to be going in and they get a new dropping of Surging Sparks ETBs, they're not going to put Surging Sparks on the shelf for $85, $90, which is the current value of that ETB. No, they're going to stay at MSRP, which gives the consumer a chance to get it at MSRP. So I do agree with that. The problem is that we have had this situation before. This is actually number 3, the third time that this situation has arose in the Pokemon TCG in the last 10 years. And they have found the solution for it 2 of the 3 times. And I don't know why they are not falling into the way that they've solved it before, which is pick the highest running sets, the most sought after, most expensive sets, and print them to the ground. Absolutely what they've done. They did that in Sword and Shield, and they also went through and did that with XY Evolutions and XY Wearing Skies. So that was the solution, right? 2 of the hottest sets in XY era was Evolutions and Roaring Skies. And what did they do? Highest paid booster boxes crossing $200 back in that day, which is unheard of for a booster box. And they printed that into the ground. They printed so much of it, the price did not move until 2020 when the actual whole market went up, which caused the pricing in that to go up with it. It's how much they printed. What did they do in Sword and Shield? It did almost the exact same thing, right? They reprinted Evolving Skies, they reprinted Fusion Strike, Battle Styles, Chilling Reign. They printed a ton of Fusion Strike, and they slammed that market in 2021 so heavy that everybody was buried in product. The stores' shelves were full of products. We had discount Pokemon products again. You could go to your LGS and they were selling all these products way under MSRP because, number one, they need cash flow in order to make up for that. And number two, because they had so much product that they just wanted to get it out of the store. And that is the solutions that we need to look at and the things that need to be done now in order to see these changes. Taking one leg and taking it away from distribution that goes to your big box stores and giving it to LGSs is never going to fix the problem. That is not the solution to these problems. What is the solution to it is plain and simple, going through the market and giving the product and killing the big sets such as Prismatic Evolutions, such as Surging Sparks, Journey Together, going all the way back to Twilight Masquerade. You skip Stellar Crown, really not that big of a hit, and going after Destin's Rivals in black and white. Just absolutely run the printers dry, ink dry out of them printers on those sets and give it to everybody. Anybody who's pre-ordered extra and gone way above what they would normally purchase in these times, they should get it. A print to order, just like they did in Sword and Shield. It puts everybody back in their place. It resets that system. It floods the market. It drops the pricing of all these where everybody is barely breaking even. Sometimes they lose money because of the fact that they are ordered all this stuff in a time of greed, and it resets everybody. A lot of stores, even myself, are very cautious on what we were purchasing even during this time. We're not willing to up those allocations, but I know stores that had double, triple, or quadruple their allocations just to try and get what they normally would and try and trick the system. Well, let's trick them back and give them all that product that they ordered. Bury it. You ordered it, here it is. Now it's yours. Do a print to order. That's been the solution that we've seen in Pokemon before. Works great. I don't know why they won't do it now. I don't know what the reasoning is for them not to do this, but that's exactly what's happening. But I'm going to show you one last clip, and this is one thing that I do 100% agree with Pokemon on, and I think that this is exactly what's going to continue to happen, even with this now split of what we got with the new Mega set coming out, how they're splitting this up. I don't know if many people have heard this, but they're splitting it into 2 waves now. We're going to get the initial release in September, and then possibly the end of October to the beginning of November, getting the second part of it. I don't even know where my allocations are coming. I've got the same allocation numbers, probably maybe 5% more than what I got with the last set with black and white, but we might be seeing our Destin's Rivals, but we might be seeing an increase of 5%, but they can't tell me if I'm getting it first wave or second wave. So once again, I'm going to be left up to, I don't know what I'm going to get until it happens. So let's play this one last clip from Pokeye's video here. Do a little discussion on this one as well on why I think that this is right on and this is what's going to occur at this point in time.
There's going to be a lot of stores that get less than that. Some stores will get a couple hundred boxes at the most, but if you're a store that gets a couple hundred boxes, you're probably used to getting a couple thousand boxes, back before all this craziness. So there is no way in hell the average store is going to charge MSRP for this stuff. So the cycle will continue.
So there you have it. That I absolutely do 100% agree with, is that currently in the cycle that we have that's happening in the Pokemon TCG, we are going to continually have like this repetitive price up, price push, price up, price push, and it's never going to come down because of the fact that it always comes out in small sporadic waves. Certain areas are getting more product than the other, whether it's the LGS or whether it's the actual stores, and overall there is no balance to the system. Eventually we have to find a place where you find that balance point in the system. The number one way to do that is produce more products. Once again, I'm going to continue to say that when it comes down to the Pokemon TCG right now, we need more products. We need that flushing. We need a reason for this to actually get flushed out and get that pricing down. If we don't do that, if we do not see an overall balanced approach of where 50-50 goes to your distributor and 50% goes to the actual big box stores through MJ Holding and Exceed or Excel, then we're going to have the problem where one is going to dictate the market pricing, and the market is always going to see a shortage, whether it's on this leg or this leg, and that shortage is always going to cause the market value to go up and not go back down or retract to be in a comfortable or a normalized price. So once again, taking it from one leg, putting it to another is not going to work. This back and forth reciprocating chain of slow release, slow release, slow release is going to continue to cause pricing to go up on these products. And the only way to fix this product problem is to get product out in large quantities, like we saw with Roaring Skies and Evolutions, or go back to Sword and Shield like we did with Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, going through Evolving Skies and into Fusion Strike, how they just mass produced that print to order, buried everybody in this product, whether it was an LGS or going into a big box store. We had discount Pokemon. Fusion Strike was worthless. Nobody wanted it when it came out because there was so much of it available. Evolving Skies even took a hit down under $100 a booster box because of how much was available of that particular product. Battle Styles to this day has never recovered from what it actually took for the hit when it came down to that product order. And Chilling Reign took almost 3 years to recover from that hit. Chilling Reign sat around $80 a booster box for almost a year and a half. It just never moved because nobody had interest in it until recently. So overall, that's the number one way to fix the problem, but it's not something that people want to talk about. We want to continually sit there and move. PokeNE wants to take advantages of taking product from the market and moving it to him so that he can make sure that they go through that. I understand that. I would love to see more product. I would love to see part of that Prismatic Evolutions reprint come onto my step. That would be awesome, but it's probably not going to happen. Pokemon does not seem to be going in this direction, and right now the only thing that we can hope for is at some point in time that Pokemon gets some wisdom, turns the printers on, maybe kicks out the other contracts that they're doing. So whatever's holding up the production lines from actually producing the product that we're looking for, and they actually do start producing that, get it out to the people, and then start to squash this market and start to retract this out. Till that happens, really not going to be a good situation overall. Even moving it from one leg to another is not a solution fix. Overall, the only solution we have is Pokemon printing. Print, burn them printers up, run them out of ink. That's what we need. Hopefully you guys like this interpretation of it. I think that PokeNE has some really good information through time. This is just one of them. I understand he's doing it as a hot take, and I'm explaining why I think this is a really bad hot take. This is not a good idea. This is not a good way to go about it. I think that there's better ways to do it, and there is a way to do it. We know what it is. It just needs to be done. Pokemon needs to do it and be done and hit that print button, and that's going to fix it. Hopefully it's good information. If it was, make sure you guys hit that subscribe, hit that like button on the video, and also check out the link down below and get your Northwoods TCG merch. Great way to support the channel, or just join the channel membership. Join us on Friday, and anytime you do a rip and ship, you get to do the Guess the Energy, which means you get a bonus pack if you guess the energy correct on your first order of the evening. So other than that, guys, thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.